All right, this is part 3 of saving Diane. I actually got her running the other day, as you know, if you watched episode 2. And it's always fun to look around the shop and see what's going on. I picked up this mower for free yesterday. It's a big old snapper, Briggs & Stratton, professional grade. Big old thing. He's giving it away for free because he said that he just wanted to be rid of it. He had hit a stump with it. So it was a small stump. So that's always good to hear. So we'll find out about this one maybe in the next episode. I'm sure it'll have a sheared flywheel key. I like this collection here. He's obviously been sitting in his yard for a while. Got limbs and trees and sweet gum balls and everything in the world under here. Let me lean this thing back and you can, yeah, I can't do that right now. But anyway, take it from me. I looked at it earlier, the blade is bent, so he did hit something pretty hard. The other interesting thing about this mower is when I picked it up, the handle was so short, it was like something had been adjusted on it for a little tiny baby, a little toddler. And what had happened, I've seen this before. If you don't, he didn't have these in. These are some I just put in. Got holes. There's a hole in this handle that this goes through, and then it attaches to a square nut down there. And that's how this thing stays attached. And if you don't have this in here, this whole piece right here will slide down in under the mower and be sticking out about 8 inches. And you'll be dragging the rest of the handle on the ground. And it was that way on both sides. I couldn't believe it. I don't know why anybody would do that, but that's the way he had set it up. And you could see this thing's all installed wrong. He's got a hand, that's a curved shoulder bolt that's obviously in the wrong spot. So yeah, this handle's gonna need some attention. But let's get back on Diane and what we're doing today. And what I'm going to be doing today is taking this blade off, and we're going to change the oil in this thing because, let me set this down. Because this oil was filthy, and you know, until I determine if they're going to lose fire or not, I'm not going to put gorgeous brand new oil in there if it's got oil in it. It may be nasty, it may be funky, it may be, like in this case, the color of tar, black tar. And I work on so many that, you know, I salvage. I've got a jug of old oil that isn't contaminated with water or anything, that I'll top off just enough to test these things. And then if they test out and they appear to be a good mower, then I will go ahead and empty the oil out and put some good quality oil in there. Now this is an older mower, and I actually like this. The newer ones, you'll notice in a lot of my videos, all my mowers are tilted to the back. I do all my work that way, if I possibly can. Changing the oil, working on blades, working on wheels. I tend to tilt it to the back, because if you don't, then you can get fuel and oil going the wrong way when you tilt the mower, even if you keep the carburetor up like they say you're supposed to. If you move this blade, which often you do when you're trying to change blade, it's going to kick oil out, and it'll kick it into that air filter. You'll ruin your air filter. At least set it up so that you got to clean it if it's a foam one, but you can ruin a paper one. So we're going to get this blade off, And I'm going to show you how I do that, because it works for me, and I do this so much I thought it might help you. Okay, so this is what you call a breaker bar. This comes from Harbor Freight. There's one around here that I bought this from a long time ago, and this gives you tremendous leverage, and that's what I like about it. Now, of course, I see a lot of people, get out their impact wrench and take these off. I don't do that, because if you don't have that impact socket perfectly lined up, you can end up damaging the screw, and in most cases that's not a big deal. But if you've got a really old mower like this one, that's probably sitting in the field for 4 or 5 years, this thing's going to be in there, and it's going to be jammed on there, rusted, and then you blunt the edges on the top of that screw head. And in this case, this is a shallow one, see? What I mean by that is that one is deep, so you got a little more margin for error. But if you blunt that one, that's shallow, there's not as much to grab for that socket, okay? So I use a breaker bar because I can kind of it gives me the leverage of an impact wrench, but it's slow and it's controlled, and I can make sure this thing is not slipping or sliding. And I don't tear up that screw and then make another problem where you've damaged it so much and rounded it off so much with an impact wrench that no socket will stay on it, and then you've really got a problem. That is not a 9/16. I believe that is a 5/8. So I'm going to grab one of my impact wrench sockets, because I prefer to use those. They're heavy duty, and that is a 5/8. So that's going to slip on right there. And I'm going to go ahead and take this blade off, because it's got to come off anyway. You don't have to do this if you're just changing the oil. You can just spark plug, unplug, move the blade sort of out of the way. And with these older mowers, the newer ones don't have this. You've actually got a drain plug, just like you have on an automobile. And so you can take that out. And I prefer to do that because you get every drop of oil out. And you can leave it, draining overnight and get every drop of really bad oil out of there. So I'm always glad to see that with these older mowers. So let me go around here and hook this up so we can take this blade off. Let me go around and do that. I've shown you this on a previous video. It's a long screw with a spring on it, and I've made for this function, okay? I'm going to snug it up just a little bit. Okay, it grabs that pretty good. Put a couple more turns on there. You can buy one from Lowe's or Home Depot that latches on, and they're good, but I like this one. Get your C-clamp on there. Okay, and it doesn't have to be super tight. Don't think that you've got to bear down on this because you don't want that blade to slip. Just make it good and snug, because leverage is your friend here. You got so much leverage against the length of this to that crankshaft that it's gonna stop. It's like that mower I showed you the other day that was being stopped by a clump of grass up here. A person told me the mower was locked up. It was locked up on a little clump of grass. So leverage is your friend here, and so that's going to come off right here. You got my socket. This is not going to move. All right, let me get this on here now. That's squared up. I'm going to hit that with the heel of my hand. So that's on, okay. Because this thing's so long, so I can swing it out of the way of my clamp. All that leverage goes straight to that screw. You turn it this way. You don't have to take it off. You turn it again. Now it's really starting to come loose. And pretty soon I'll just be able to take it off by doing this. Now, loose enough I can just use the socket. This blade is dull, but it's not bent, and so this blade is just fine. I've looked at it and I can tell it's going to be okay. It just needs to be sharpened, cleaned up a little bit. This is that high-rise mulching mower, so you'll notice it's got the long screw to attach the blade and the extra long blade adapter. This blade adapter is, 2-3 inches anyway, something up there, instead of just the short one that's standard. And that's because it sits high on the engine, and it'll be able to mulch better because the grass is held up in there more. So that's looking good. I got the blade off. Let me set it out of the way and screw, because we got to clear the area here, because now we're going to drain the oil out of this thing. And I'm going to show you how to do that using the breaker bar and this little 3/8 extender. Let me come around that way now. And these things, just like those screws that hold the blade on, they can be rusted and difficult to get off. Same thing with that drain plug. So if it's got crud in it, get you a little screwdriver or something you can kind of poke around in there and make sure that those 4 edges are exposed. There's not a bunch of dirt that's going to keep you from getting a firm seating of that. Okay, so what we're doing, it just so happens that Briggs, I love this, the old 3/8 extension here fits there, and it goes right in. And this, of course, has the little ball bearing that kind of clicks into place. So I'm going to show you that. Okay, you hear that? Okay, so now that's seated. And again, I'm using leverage on this by using this breaker bar. And that's how I'm going to get this drain plug out. And I'm going to get it out. Oops, let's see, I got to use my converter. Where are you? There we go. Okay, this will convert it down. This is a 1/2 to a 3/8. Again, I got these from Harbor Freight. So clip that on there. Now this will fit that. So that's in place. Healed hand. Okay, now using the leverage. Boom. So easy. It just came right out. Swing it around this way. Put another turn on it. It's still pretty stiff, but it's definitely moving. Now it's getting easy to turn. And what you want to do is you want to get that drain plug loose so that when we get it here on the table, I can reach up under here and do the last 1 or 2 little turns with my fingers. Okay, so I'm moving now this with my fingers. Okay, that's pretty loose. I don't want it to come all the way out. I want it to stay there and keep the oil in until I have this mower in the right position. Again, let me move all this stuff out of the way. I'll show you the next step. Let me get this blade block out of the way. All right, we got that out of the way. Okay, now, what I use, where did you guys go? I use these wooden blocks that I also set engines in. I Briggs and Stratton engine off, I'll set it down on one of these blocks, but also it'll help me get this deck where I can work on it. So you come on down and put the front edge on that block, and then get the other block and put it under the back. Okay, so that's stable now. And I'll either use my regular oil drain pan, or I'll get me a milk jug that's been cut in half. But I'll try the, see if the drain pan's gonna fit in under here. It might. That's too tight of a fit. Somebody grab one of my milk jugs. Okay, so that's a 1 gallon milk jug cut down to where it will slip under the deck. And I sort of have a good idea of where that screw is. And often, if this had a discharge cinch, you could be looking through that. This one doesn't have that. It's either mulching or it's bagging. So I'm going to try to get that under there. Hoping that's all recording. Yep, okay, so I'll slip that under there. Now I'm going to get a plastic bag or something like that I can use. Hang on, so let me get a grocery sack. Now this is just so I don't get a bunch of filthy oil on my hands. Well, the other thing I often do, I don't want to waste your time on it, but I'll get a piece of newspaper and put it under here too. I'm hoping I've got this lined up pretty good. I'm going to reach up in here and grab that screw and screw it out with my fingers. And it just should be 1 or 2 turns. As soon as I feel it come loose, I'll pull out. Okay, there. All right, so that's draining. Get a paper towel on there. Set that drain plug there on that paper towel. Soak up some of that nasty oil. Throw this thing away. And get me another one if I need to reinstall. Let me show you what's happening here. See, that's draining straight into my little half-gallon milk jug cut in half. Okay, so that's it for now. Got the blade off. Gonna sharpen that thing up and reinstall it after a while. But that's how you get the oil out of these older mowers. And I can let this sit, if I want to get every drop out of there, let it sit overnight. But it's draining good, and stay tuned. And please subscribe and comment back if I'm hoping you guys will send me some questions, have something fun to talk about. So bye for now. Stay tuned.